Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Doing a quick update. It's not going to be quick, but I will try. I believe I can get this through actually pretty quick because there's not a whole lot to talk about. Just kind of nice. It is December 11th, 2024. Here's a radar update here. Going to start again with STEM because we've been talking about this all week. And, we got that breakdown here. It just shot down again. Um, Wait, I'm sorry, 15 minutes. No. It started here at the top. We talked about it, coming down, and then we saw new pivots, but it immediately shot down. And that was okay. I was fine with that going down to the S1. Um, Essentially, I was kind of I was having that target as that gap, which was 34 cents, and I kept going down past that. So I'm not out of the woods here yet, everybody. I'm being serious. I know this is crazy because it's just you know getting into the in the weeds here on the 15-minute, but again, it's pretty clear five up. What I can count here is one, two, three, four, five down A, B, C, then a one, two, three, and I want to say that could be it. And I actually I even threw down here kind of a wedge idea in here in orange. This is a possibility because I can see this. This is kind of like a range here. So it might be treated as a very small Wyckoff accumulation. I'm not sure, but it is holding above this EQ, right? And it's really just found a lot of support and just a lot of volume is definitely coming in certain areas. So RSI's the Stoch's RSI is okay. It's kind of wanting to curl down, but and then the Fisher RSI is actually starting to curl down. So we really need to see something very soon. So a quick down, I'm thinking I kind of even put this demand range here in this wick. So if we were to get a quick boom to that EQ and maybe back up, that could be nice to see. But again, breaking down here, ending the bottom of the channel, I guess is technically an option, but I'm really starting to, my process here on STEM is starting to get my confidence level is getting lower and lower at this point, obviously, because really just not finding any support, true support on bigger picture. So look, it's nice to see something. It's nice to be in something that could be the bottom, but obviously at the end of the day, there's no guarantee that this is the actual bottom. So that's the one thing about trading. It's you hit some, you lose some. I don't know what's going to ultimately happen here. It could ultimately break down and then pop back up again. It could be, big picture. It could end up being a spring off of a Wyckoff. I actually looked at that on the 3-day and I said that'd be interesting. All this work just to see it make a new low and then pop back up into the range again, which would probably drive me nuts. And I think you'd drive everyone else nuts here too. It's listening to me, but we'll see. Still in it. I will say I actually threw in another small bag here, just to see if I can catch something. But I have my stop losses set below here to not make a new low. So it's a small loss, honestly, at the end of the day. I think 1 or 2%, yeah, 1.5%. It's not a big loss. So that's that. That's STEM. So we'll see again tomorrow what's going to happen. Bitcoin here. Oh boy, what are we talking? Yeah, yesterday we were talking about this green, just green resisted support, and it's really holding up so nice as support. And yesterday I looked at the 12. That's right, we're looking at the 12-hour yesterday, right? And I was pointing out just how I like how it double wicked into the S1, and then we were seeing this next candle. Well, it just obviously that closed up real nice. Look at that candle though. So see this candle right here. So we got this wick with the large volume. So it's interesting. Wick into it, large volume, and then nothing. Wick into the large volume, and then nothing again. But it's engulfing, and now it's continuing up. So this sellers just lost momentum. It really did. Short, if you were trying to short, or just it was just getting bought up left and right. So this is very good. This is what we looked for. There's actually a downward resistance line, which I'm not sure why it's not there on the 12. supposed to be there on the 12th too because I wanted to see it. Yeah. So we broke that. That is just absolutely great. So this now looks like a 1, 2, and then a 1, 2, 3. So the 3 was the breakthrough, the downward resistance. Also, 3 was the breakthrough, the pivot. Chris talked about this a little bit. I actually talked about this a lot on today's uh, price action class because this is a completely price action, right? We're talking about pivots and things of that nature. So this is just really awesome. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to probably close to the all-time high, and then we'll get that 2 back. So that's kind of my thoughts here on the 1, 2, 1, 2. That's when we really want to get very interested. If you're thinking about I want to go long again soon, we got the 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I'm sorry, it was yeah. So 1, 2, and then the 1, 2 for 3. The 3 will blast us off probably all-time highs and much farther, in my opinion. So I was on the 4-hour. Oh yeah, so 4-hour here though, so you can see here the 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 of 3. So this was going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what's here's what's going to kind of happen. I might have missed this. If Chris, if you saw this with Chris already, then I apologize. I thought I saw him talk about this, but I could be wrong. So 1, 2, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 should probably be about right here. So I'm going to go like this. And it's going to come probably like down a little bit here, but it should hopefully hold this pivot. And then we want to blast through this to finish off 3. And then we want to kind of see it, maybe hold it, and then kind of do like a 5 up. And then once we get back here, that will be 5. And then we're going to want to do our 2. So our 2 actually might come back down to the pivot. Depends on what the time frame is. Okay, so that might happen. It depends on when this happens because the pivots only hold till the end of the week and then they change. So I'm really using the pivots here because we're midweek. That's good. Okay, this might actually do an all-time high break, and then we're gonna get this like sudden movement down because that's a 3 to a 4. And so when we hit that all-time high, people are gonna try to short because there's probably a lot of there's obviously shorting here. So people that are shorting are probably getting nervous and they're probably doubled down maybe on their short to hold it. So you might see a boom and then boom, and we want to see this kind of hold as support. See, right now it's resistance. Right now it's resistance in the green. So we should have a little bit more down here. I don't know, maybe that's it because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is probably going to happen soon, and then we'll probably hit an all-time high. I'm guessing. I don't know if we're going to get to the R1, but we'll get close. We should have a down and then up again to the R1 and then down. Okay. Now I don't know if it's going to. This green is strong, so it might not even get to the pivot, and maybe by that point we're later in the week, and maybe so this green is for me is staying here. Okay, and looking for how it counts into it. Okay, so how does it count into that green? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I don't know. Depends on if it goes down here or maybe right here. I don't know. And then it should be something like that. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, and then off to the races. That's the plan. That's what we're projecting. Okay, so that looks good. I love it. Again, what is your emotions? Think about this. What is your emotions telling you as this comes here? Okay, probably you think it at this point, if you didn't have your chart marked up properly, maybe you might have been thinking of going long. Like you're like, oh my gosh, it's going past pivot. I got to get in. Okay, but that's why I mark these areas that kind of help my eyes, train my eyes to see where we could be seeing resistance, resistance, resistance. And actually, again, I go this way, and it was a little bit of a break, support, and then break down. Okay, so that's probably actually how we could see this again. I don't know if it'll break down or not. It should hold it. So it's going to be like this here, but then maybe hold it and go back up a little bit more. So that's my thought there. Okay, that's Bitcoin's thought. But ultimately, just if you haven't gotten in yet, I haven't gotten in yet. I'm being honest. I have not gotten here. I really wish I did, but sometimes I just miss it because it's either after hours or whatever. That's okay though. I'm not tripping because this is going to give me more confidence being up here, bringing it down, and then really going. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for. I would definitely want to get back in here though as we come back into this area. All right. That's Bitcoin Matic real quickly. We were looking at 12-hour. Remember we were talking about these wicks. Make sure you guys can see this. Okay. Remember these wicks into that 50? We had that third one and I was like, oh, there's wave 4. And then we got it again. Another wick. That was definitely your opportunity. Just my thought. Look at this. And then we blast through. Okay. This wicked up, came back down, but then it blasted through. This blasted through. So this is probably a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back down for 2. Okay, maybe. I don't know. I have, I got to kind of dive into this. I'm gonna do that now, but I'm just kind of watching this, seeing how it comes in this pivot here. It might come back down here. I'll tell you this: if this goes back down here into this green and maybe into these wicks, I might throw along in this, depending on what happens here, because we just finished out the day. Actually, the day just looks like it closed. Awesome, by the way. Awesome daily, by the way. Look at this. I mean, so good with that wick. Look at all that volume, and then the volume's dropping off and we're going up. So um, could see this kind of filled into the wick. So 60 cents, 64.4 maybe could be the thought there. Yeah, maybe it could come back, fill it, and then go up. Hard to say. So I might jump in, I might not. I have to, again, I'm like 12. I don't normally trade the 12-hour, but I like using it as a guide. See that 1, 2, 3? Yeah. See, that would be just like It appears to be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then it's kind of like we're gonna 4, then a 5. So getting back to this pivot is pretty important. So yeah, we'll see what ends up happening here. Yeah, this looks like it wants to retest it. We don't want to see it blast through. I don't want to see that. I definitely don't want to see it go down here. We need to see it come down and find support there. Okay. If it blasts through it, then something's wrong. Something's weird because this is only 1, 2, 3. So because this is the low, you measure these candles out. This one's lower than that one barely. So that was the remainder of the correction. So this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then there'll be a 2 back. So it's cool if it tests this and it comes up, right? It's gonna look like this. It's gonna be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it'll come up maybe to this 50 or to the pivot, and it's going to come back down and probably retest it again because that will also be 4, and then will be a go. So yeah, we're close. We're getting close on these for myself. Orca is something that Chris brought up, and it's just here. I didn't think to talk about this, but I had this in the channel. That's interesting because this is the 15-minute, so um, that's interesting right there how it's kind of holding that 15. But if it breaks down, I thought it was going to break down to the 50, but now that I see where the pivots are at, that's kind of interesting. So I'm not sure where I'm at on this. I'm not going to really dive into that right now. Pepe, just a quick update on Pepe. Um, if you guys are, late last night, I was talking about this breakout, you know, and then I was just kind of watching it and I fell asleep. I fell asleep right here. Look at that. That came back to the green. I would have went in all day right there. So if you were up and you saw this and you saw that I posted about a break on the wedge and you're like not about to go to sleep, this is what you want to see, okay? You know what I mean? You want to see this right here because this is a 1, 2, and there was a 1, 2. So this was a wave 1 break of 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, I'm sorry. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Make sure you guys can see that better. Okay. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C. 1, 2. Wait. 5. Okay, there you go. So here it is. So here's the 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Okay. Sometimes I count and I start to like say too many 1, 2s. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to 2. So ultimately it's a 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. And then this was the breakthrough. This is what I want to show you. Somebody, oh, who mentioned about wedges? Oh my gosh, might have been Sats. There was like, hey, can we do like a video on wedges? Okay. Well, here we go. Here's a wedge. First of all, now this is a wedge inside of the correctional wave. So I'll tell you this: I really normally like to take it from the top, but it doesn't always have to be that way. But it's a lot more clean if it is. But I don't want to miss that there was a wedge inside here because you can really see what you want to see is the wedge really going into it, into it, into. You don't want to see a lot of like this kind of broke up a little bit, but it was really like boom, 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 and then kind of boom here. So it's not the cleanest wedge to be honest with you. But what was nice about it is we definitely had the line here, okay? And as you can see, sometimes you don't know if it's a true wedge until after it's broken out and it's tested it. And it's funny, Chris talked about actually today that sometimes do you want to play the breakout or do you want to play the retest? And he actually said that he would rather trade the retest. This is actually perfect example. And maybe I hope he would watch this and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm glad he's bringing that up." Because that's what this is. This was a see on a wedge you want to count it as a 1 2 and you want to see a break on the 3. Okay, that's awesome. So we got a 1 2 wave like 1 2, and we break on wave 3. Now it doesn't have to. Now here it was wave 1 of 3. 1 2, you got the bit, and also look for this. See how I have this resistance line here in orange, and then we have this big wave here. Okay, I'm sorry, big candle here, candlestick. It's like solid too. All right, so that was actually the 3 of that smaller wave. All right. And then like I said, I was like, oh look, everyone, it broke out, but I wasn't really ready yet because there was a lot of I was just kind of watching it. Um I don't always pop into a trade right off of, especially like late at night. Definitely don't go into trades late at night because then I usually make mistakes. So, I was like thinking they might come back, and then I'm serious, I fell asleep right on here. And like only about an hour later, it actually broke down and tested it and then came back up. That was it right here. Because not only did it come and test that line, that was a good valid break line, but it also went into the green. That was becoming support. Okay. So a couple different things that had to come into place to make this trade make more sense. This was your long. And obviously it's easy for me to say, but it really would have been. Because you're like right here, like at this point, if you come in here, it's tapping it, right? You just put your stop loss just a little bit under here. You could put it like at this one at the 2, because this was 1 2. We don't want this to come back down below 2, and this is correctional anyway. So when you learn Elliott wave, you realize that you don't want to go under 2 until you've really gone through all of the 5 waves. So if this is a 1 2 and then you do this and then you come below it, this is not right. And this whole thing is wrong. So it's okay to come back here and take it the long. Honestly, if you're really watching this thing, you could have took it basically at this tap. Okay. And then or maybe it closes into this one. You start, or maybe it's closed. Let's let it close and then go into this new one, right? And then you're here, and then you go up, and then you just set a really short stop loss here, right? I mean, what is that really going to be if you do your math right? You can make this a 1% all day easily. You come in, calculate your percentages on how you want to come in on a trade, and make this like a 1% loss. No big deal. Does that make sense? So, you can even put it a little lower than that. That's fine. That's nothing. I'll take this all day. If I was awake, I'm telling you, if I was awake and I saw this, I would have absolutely went in on this. Guaranteed. And you guys would have been getting like a trade alert. Who knows what time it would have been. It was close to midnight. Uh, yeah, it was pretty close to midnight. I don't remember exactly. I don't know. I was tired. Anyway, another trade I missed because I was sleeping on Pepe too. Anyway, I want to just kind of show you too, though, what's happening. So that was the breakout. So if you didn't get in, hey, I didn't get in. It's okay. So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and now we're working on this 5, and I believe it's actually done. So I actually believe that 5 waves up is just about done or is done. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and then we got this ending diagonal 5. See how it's almost look. And when you guys, when you remember, wedges can go, um, they can go like you can do a rising wedge, right, a falling wedge, whatever. The rising wedge is good too. It kind of identifies the kind of the end of the trend, just like you would an opposite. I mean, technically, you could possibly, set up a short here. Now I wouldn't because I'm feeling very more on the bullish side here because I'm looking for a pullback to go long. But if this was, continuation to continue going down, then that could be a short opportunity realistically. But involved. I'm not getting involved in that because I'm still thinking price is going up. Okay. Remember I talked about this on the last video where I was thinking I was going to go, look for this. If we got a pullback, I was going to look for this green area to probably get a long. Well, you got to kind of let things play out a little bit, right? So obviously it blew through it. I wasn't going to just play it right here, but it blew through. I was like, oh, maybe that's not right. But then it came back up. I was like, oh, maybe that green is solid. See, added confidence. So as we were here, I was like, yeah, I was kind of talking about. I think if it comes back here, it might go long. Well, I didn't, but because I was like, whoa, it's really sharply coming through. But then as it came back up and found support, I was like, oh man, this is it. This is looking good. It's finding support. And then I found that there was possibly a wedge here, and then it broke it. I fell asleep. Trading is so much fun. So anyway, long story short here, we got 5 up. Okay, I'm pulling fibs now. Looking for that 0.5. Although there's this other green resistance and support. Now, it's pretty good resistance and support. It has this like breakpoint here where it kind of is trading inside of it. But for the most part, it really is true. But right here, it kind of broke it up pretty bad. Okay. See this right here, this cluster? So, I mean, it really shouldn't go through that, but if it does and comes back up, I'm not like tripping on that too much. Okay. So this kind of like really broke up this resistance support area for me. I'm going to keep it there though. And um I did notice that it's near the oh, that's interesting. The pivots has changed. And look at that. It's actually at the 15-minute pivot. Wow, look at that. How crazy is that? I love pivots. I really do. Pivots are so good. So now that we know that the 15-minute pivot is right at my support, we can consider this as a good area to possibly long. Okay. It's even adding more confidence in it, to be quite honest with you. It's only a 382 pullback, but that's all right. Because here's why it's okay. We might, so as this kind of probably most likely ends up breaking down, we might get this as a flat. So don't get too crazy here. What might happen is it might come down and it might come back up and it might almost look like it's going to keep going, but then it might come down again. So this might turn out to be a flat correction and stay above this pivot or this 382 and also this support. This is what I mean. Well, first of all, this actually might come up one more time. I actually thought this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It actually might come up one more time in the breakdown. I don't know, but right now I'm just definitely not in this at all. But if and when this breaks down, it could do something like this, like this, and then kind of go that direction. Okay, something like that. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. What I was trying to show you was this part. Okay, so don't, because if the 0.5 is below all this, right? That's a lot of support, potential support here. So I'm like, well, when I see that, I think, okay, then wait a minute, because I wanted to get down to the 0.5, but if it does a flat, it doesn't have to go to the 0.5 always. If it does a flat correction, it can just go to the 382, and that's good, because you'll get this as an A, B, C. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you start to see it go up here, but it's really not doing a big pullback, then I would be super cautious still here, okay, to go long here. All right. Now, if it keeps going all the way to R1, then I was probably wrong. But what I'm thinking is, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this is a possibility, because I say this is a possibility because I don't know how it gets to the 0.5 unless it does this crazy drop and then it spikes right back up really quickly. Okay. Because this could turn into resistance, and then it's looking at way down here at the S1. And that's, although that's possible, that's a lot of that's a lot of support it needs to get past. All right. So when you have to go through a lot of support, then all that support can become resistance, and it has to get past all that resistance. So if you're like breaking through this really strong wall and then they build the wall up very strong again, you got to come back through that again. So I'm not a big fan of that. So what I want to see, what I think is then, is that we go with like a flat. So we're going to come down and then we're going to come back up for a B. So it's like A, B, C flat, and then it hits like the pivot, this 382, which is also this green, and then we get the next wave up. That's going to be my long. Okay, that's my long. I don't know where this comes down to. Don't get too cute. If this kind of starts bouncing, it doesn't have to be right here at this range, but it might. I don't know, but this is kind of what I'm looking at now. Okay, so I'm not just like jumping in right away. I still need to build more confidence, and it just takes a little bit more time. All right, this could take a whole nother day too, by the way. Okay, this could be a whole nother day. It could do this overnight. Well, my luck is it does this overnight and I'm sleeping again. No, it could take a little while to do this, and maybe into tomorrow's trading for stocks, like a normal trading hours maybe. So we'll see. I'm not sure on the time frame, but this is kind of what I'm looking for. Okay, hopefully that helps. So again, here we are in this wedge. It's really kind of struggling. It definitely looks like a wedge, honestly, a rising wedge. So we'll see what happens here. If this kind of pops up one more time, I'm not going to be tripping on that and thinking it's going up, because I'm thinking probably it's still going to come down. I really truly think that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay, this is just me. But again, I think this is 5. So I'm not going to think that we're going like to the moon or anything from here. It needs to correct a little bit first. Okay. XRP. I told you about that channel. All right, we were talking about it right here in this on this candle here. Okay, right here in this candle, and then I said, yeah, I think we can kind of come down, and then we're coming back up to tap this channel. Well, this is kind of brutal here. This like just grinding up. So when you zoom in on the 15-minute, there's actually a 1-2 here, and this is a 3-4. So this is my 5. And then we got this just nasty grind. It's brutal, but it never actually top hit the channel yet, the top of the channel, nor did it hit this green. It was close. So I'm wondering that this is like an A, B, another flat here, and then it comes down, and then it hits this green, and then it comes back up. So this is starting to get interesting too, honestly. So I'm just kind of looking at to see how this kind of grinds through. We need it when price will start moving again. We'll see this grinding kind of going to some better candles, and then we're going to see some action. Okay. So not sure not sure how this is going to play out. This looks like an A, B, C for A, then it might come back up, and then it might grind again a little bit down. We'll kind of see, but ultimately breaking this channel and this green support and this pivot, all that is the brick wall that we need to blast through. And then, to add even more confidence, look for support there. But, I'm thinking this is a 1, 2. This is making a 2, so this is going to be a 3. Should be pretty good. If this is going up, this should be a pretty good move here soon on XRP. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're going to see what's going to happen soon. I mean, it's not going to take too much longer. I noticed this about total This is actually total 2, which I believe is less Bitcoin and less Ethereum. So it's just like all the other alts. Um, this is kind of interesting. So this was, here's that low from, a long time ago, 2018. So we got the 1, 2, okay. Then we got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's good. It could be easily a 5 waves up. Now there's been some talks that this is probably a flat, but you could actually say this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm actually I'm actually really thinking that this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we came back down. Okay, so here's where I'm getting at. We got a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then looks like we're working on a 5. Right now, what have I talked about where I think there's going to be a pullback? It's kind of lining up that way because if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is a 1, 2, 3, right? It's kind of working on the 4, and then we're going to get a 5. So we might get this like alt season to kind of finish off level wave 5, and then so my thought is that like Bitcoin and some other the bigger names players will probably kind of like Bitcoin's probably going to start going down, and then alt season is going to start for a little while for like their wave 5, and then that's going to probably come down too. But I don't think, I mean, is it going to come down quite significant? Maybe so, and maybe it's kind of a down couple months in a row for alts. But ultimately, though, this is a 1, 2, and this is going to be a 1, 2, right? So this is what I'm saying. Like, this could be a really crazy quarter 2, quarter 3 for alts of next year. When I say crazy, I mean like who knows what. Like we might start seeing. I mean, this is in the trillions. This is 1.52 trillion. I mean, we can get. I mean, who knows? I mean, right here, 3 trillion is double. Okay. I mean, where are we going with this? So, you know, are we gonna? I mean, I don't know. Uh, I mean, are we going to see some serious money, or are we really going to see something that's actually more long term bearish? I don't know. Volume is interesting. So volume is really spiking at the same level as it did here. So that's a little bit interesting too. But because see how we're like kind of in the same level and it's also the same volume. So I want to see how that works out too, because you can see it drop down and then volume dropped, and then the volume kind of started coming up for this. Okay. But that was also the 5. So I think we're in the 5 here for but this is all being one. So I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Definitely a lot of volume though came in here. But again, like this, if you go like that, like I'm gonna try to do this. Like when you take away all those other candles, you can see there's a lot of volume here comparable to here. You see what I'm saying? So is that going to be the same as we get over here? Like volume can kind of be tricky, meaning it looks like it's a lot of volume, but in hindsight, it's actually not very much because volume is going to go much higher, and this volume over here is going to actually look smaller, like it does over here. I hope that makes sense. See how like look at this, like look at volume compared to when they made this big run here in September 17, like for the early bull run, the OGs, right? Um, they were rocking, but look at that. There's literally no volume there. But when you zoom into that area only, the volume is crazy, right? Because it's not comparing it to anything else. So I guess what I'm trying to say is though, although when I saw this, I'm like, ooh, there's a lot of volume here, but I'm like, wait a minute, but is this just the beginning volume of much larger volume, right? I mean, is this compared not what I'm saying is that am I comparing it to this, or should we be comparing it to like something more like this down here, right? Because it's kind of the starting of the more higher volume. So I don't know. I mean, this can get just crazy. People really institutional money comes in, more trillions of dollars start piling in, maybe, and then this is just this little volume over here is just a blip, in the volume, and then we're starting to see volume just really take off. So, it was kind of concerning, but then I was like, well, this was a wave done here. This is going to be the count of a new wave, because I actually thought this was a leading diagonal, like to start a new cycle of waves. There. I mean, I kind of think I'm in the I'm just gonna tell you guys right now. I've been, I've kind of been quiet about this. I'll just say it right now. I think that there's a chance that this is a leading diagonal to start a new wave cycle, like a wave one of five. Okay. When you, I mean, just to even talk about that and think that that's possible is kind of trippy. Is because that means that we're just gonna have so much more trillions of dollars possibly come into this market. But we all know that there's trillions of dollars out there that is available for that. So, but it kind of looks like that, and that would be like the end of the wave one, and then we would come back to two. And what does two normally do? It normally comes back to the previous four. Okay, well, this is here. So yeah, although that's a lot of money that's going to leave the markets, it's potentially going to be a extremely great area to buy again. So if you're looking at alts right now, especially if you're new and you kind of come into TWC and you're like, man, gosh, I wish I was down here with you guys and we were buying all this run. It's okay, because if this is happening, right, and we come back for two, guess what? We're gonna have that opportunity. And I'm gonna tell you this right now, your emotions are gonna be different. Because right now we're in this like really strong, like, oh man, everything's great emotion. Well, if we start to lose a half $1 trillion out of the market or even more, there's gonna be a lot of sad, bearish people out there. Trust me. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of keep that in consideration. This is not obviously gonna happen, but it definitely looks like that in my opinion, and it definitely does feel like we're getting close to this five. Um, and this would be just a one, because look, here's that previous five of the final finale kind of wave, and our one would go right back into that again. So that would make a lot of sense here. So there's a lot of things that do make sense here. And so going back into an early, like quarter one, like what if quarter one like everything just starts really dropping? Okay. Well, although we should have our stop losses set, of course. Like I said last video, load up the truck, right, with your as much money as you can, because when this starts to come down and it comes down to this cluster, that might be wave two, especially if we get an A B C down. So if we get like an A for January, February, kind of, maybe like January, February is like a down month, and then we get a B, you know, February, March, and then we get like a big spike down again in that time, and then April, May kind of comes around, and we might be like we might be finding another bottom around there, and that could be your go time for like possibly like life changing money, maybe, if that's correct. And if it's not, well, you know what? We set stop loss. We don't lose that much money because we control what we lose. That's the beauty of trading. That's when you understand it. That is. So this is just a quick me, know, telling you exactly how I feel about what we're seeing here in this alts. Okay, and that's why I think that we might have this pullback to kind of start the new year out, or around that time, Okay, we might have a little mini alt season first and then come down. Okay. And a lot of people will probably be hurt because they're whole. I mean, I literally, I did, I do like a men's group on Tuesday night with my church, and I swear, two people last night were telling me that they bought XRP, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, is that not a top signal or what? So, anyway, that's just where I'm at on that. So, and then lastly, I want to do a quick update on Unity. And I talked about this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then remember I was saying that there's a 5 in play coming up. Well, I think we've about hit that. Feeling pretty good about this. So we got the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we got the 1, 2, 3, and then the triangle here for 4 and then 5. So I'm feeling like this is done. Okay, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, and I don't even know if you're trading this or not. If you're just waiting, but I could be wrong here. So but what I believe is that 5 is done, and then I'm looking for an A, then a B, okay, then a C. Okay, and then I want, because this is going to be a larger 2. So it should take a while. Okay, it's going to probably take a little bit. Might even take the whole month. I don't know. But we're going to get the A, we're going to get the B, and then we're going to get the C. Now, the pivot for December is in my green. Remember I talked about I wanted to come back to the green. Now, what's nice about the green right now is it's not the 50, the point 0.5 pullback, but because it's a leading diagonal, it doesn't have to come back to the 50 because there wasn't very large waves to begin with. Okay, so when you have like a diagonal, it's a lot of like overlapping kind of candles instead of like large like threes and what have yous. It's just like there's almost like a broadening wedge. Okay, so go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So coming back to the 382 is not a bad thing, and really it's nice because where is it at is where the support resistance is at. I talked about these taps here in the green, so that's what I'm looking at for sure. I'm definitely looking at that area for Unity to be a long, and then if that's the case, and I actually see a clear, but I am looking for a clear ABC. Okay, if it just comes smoking down here quickly, then I'm thinking, whoa, that's probably not ABC. It's probably got to go up and then come down again. So you know, it don't just it depends. So we have targets, but we want to see how it gets to the target. Okay, how does it get to the target? That's just because I have a target doesn't mean that's it. That's the end all. Like, how does it also get there? Can we count it properly? Okay, so I feel like the fives come. So this is nice. I mean, this is something to look forward to coming up soon. So we'll see where this ends up going. When I look at RSIs, I see that we are definitely curling down on the Fisher and the Stoch RSI, and it's struggling on the regular RSI on the daily for this MA, this yellow MA here. So it looks like it wants to come down for a while. So that's fine. That's even better. So let's watch that reset also. What would be ideal is we get an ABC and then we're looking down the RCIs and they're all down the lower portion of them. Oh, even better, right? All that confidence is building up. So I like it a lot. So anyway, that's my update for the day. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy these videos. And yeah, let's just stay on top of what we got. You know, Pepe, see what's up with Pepe. Oh, look at that! It broke down. It's coming back up. So that's probably we're a little breakdown here. So we got an A, B, C for A. So it might come back up and then might come back down again. We'll see. So we'll see where this ends up going and how we track that. But anyway, you guys take care. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys in TWC land.